Might help if I turn on the microphone. I've heard that that's helpful. Hopefully you can all hear me now. I'm just trying to get myself set up over here. You would think I would be ready by now. I am not. And I also have not actually sent the link to Richard, which is a bit of an oversight. So I'm just trying to find where I can share that link with him. Maybe here. Okay, not there. Info. No, that doesn't help me. Let's just see if I can just copy paste this to him. Maybe this helps. All right. Hi. Welcome. So glad to have everyone here. Let's try that. I'll say, try that. And let's see if he can get in. Hi. Oh, I'm so glad to see everyone here. How is everyone? How's your Monday? Hi, Richard. I'm not sure if that link worked for you. I actually weirdly cannot find like how to invite someone. I can do everything in this place except for invite someone, apparently. It just doesn't... I might need your email address, and I will turn my screen off when I add your email address. If you tweet it to me or message it to me. And we will give that a try. Yeah, everyone can just chill. It's good. We are relaxed here. I have the captions turned on, by the way, so that should hopefully help if I end up speaking too quickly, or if you can't understand me because of my accent, then no problems. Hey, Richard, hello. Yeah, I can just hear you. Hang on, let me turn the volume up on my side. Yeah, that's good, but I don't know if I can actually share that sound with other people, which could be a slight problem. So I might need to crank you right up so people can hear you through my speakers, which is a bit weird.
Maybe is this better?
Yeah, I think hopefully people can hear you. Can people give us a quick message and let us know if people can hear us? See if we can just say, oh, that's better. There we go. Now we're in a tile. That's nice.
First time being on YouTube.
Oh, congratulations!
Exciting, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we'll just give everyone a second, and I'll just make sure that people can hear you okay, because I don't want to get too deep into a conversation and then it turns out... Yeah, exactly. So hopefully someone can just let us know in chat if you can hear Richard, you can hear me.
Is this better?
You sound fine for me. It's whether people can hear you through my microphone, because apparently, and I didn't know this, apparently Macs, as in MacBooks or whatever, they can't automatically transmit system sound, so you need like an extra piece of software, and I didn't know this until like a minute before the stream, and I was like, oh, Richard is very quiet. Okay, hang on, let me...
Okay, maybe like this. I don't know.
Is this helping?
Oh, wait, I'm trying to see. Is this better? Is this louder? Or is I mean...
No, it's definitely, it's working. The microphone's working.
It's this? Okay.
It's a little bit silent. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I really don't know what else I can do at this point. But hopefully...
volume here and it's on nice. So... Yeah,
exactly. No, you're doing fine. Yeah. It sounds great through my speakers. So I guess, sorry, everyone, you might just have to rely a little bit on the captions. But
I try to speak louder.
Oh god, okay, yeah, that's very loud to me. Yeah.
I'm not an opera singer, so I can't like promise anything.
That's fair. Okay, what about now? I've turned the microphone around, so hopefully people get you a bit more. But we'll try. We'll try from here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So let's start, because for everyone who's out there, firstly, welcome to YouTube. Welcome to my YouTube live. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so it's really nice to be back. Just as a bit of background on how this happened, I've been getting a lot of requests lately for people who want advice or want to just have a chat about their situations. And it's been really hard to balance life, work, family, writing a book, all this kind of stuff with helping people. And it's something I'm really passionate about. So I decided to basically try to multitask this situation and help people while putting stuff out on YouTube, and then kind of kill two birds with one stone. That's the idea. And so I got this message from Richard yesterday asking me some questions, actually a tweet asking me some questions about Germany and about the German job market. And I thought, oh, well, this is the perfect opportunity to to ask if he wants to chat to me. So thank you for agreeing at such short notice to become YouTube famous.
Yeah, YouTube star soon. First appearance ever. Could go viral.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely going
you never
viral.
know. You never know.
All right, so let's start with the absolute basics. Who are you, and where are you, and why did you decide to contact me?
So, I grew up in France with German parents.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated high school, then studied in the US.
Mm-hmm.
There I studied economics.
Okay.
Then a minor in statistics. And but then I realized after I got my bachelor that I was more passionate about like programming and coding and technology. And like I really love economics,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want my career to be in economics. It's just like a subject. It's just like
yeah,
I like reading books about it. It's like yeah, but like working in finances, no. So then I was in and I couldn't like restart because like studies in the US are very expensive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to come back to Europe, and in the meantime, my parents have moved to Germany. So now I'm in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning through the Olin project.
Okay.
How to code, and I've been doing this for 3 months now.
Okay.
I'm hoping that at some point next year I get a junior level position, and I came across you, I think, was because I was looking for like advice on coding in Berlin.
Aha, okay.
Yeah, it's like specifically Berlin, and I think you popped up, yeah, and then I started following you and reading your tweets, and then I wanted to know more. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great that you said that, because I was like, I hear German accent, but I also hear French accent, and I wasn't sure like
it's a mix of everything. Yeah.
I wasn't sure what
People
was quite
never
going on.
Yeah.
But now it all makes sense. It all makes sense now. Oh, it looks like we've got a nice spammer. That's fun. Can I? We've got someone waiting for us on 18 plus stream. Yes. That's fun. Well, I'll just leave that. They can keep spamming. That's fine.
It's good for the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. It's more interaction.
So
yeah, exactly. Spam away. Great.
Look, this is the beginning of us going viral.
Oh, you predicted it. You predicted it. That's amazing. Okay, so that's really cool. So you did. I relate to that, because as you know, I used to be an opera singer, and I feel the same way about opera now. You know, I'm like, I still love it. I love performing. It's great. I just don't want it to be my career anymore.
Do you still sing?
I mean, does the shower count? I mean, the problem.
Do you have neighbors?
I do. The problem is Corona. Yeah, because my plan was to join like a community choir, or even like what they call a pro-am choir, which is like not quite amateur but not quite professional. And to kind of do that as a hobby, but because of Corona, of course, blowing air forcefully out of your face is apparently not a good thing. So, yeah, unfortunately,
you could
not.
start a club like in a park. Like,
yeah, maybe, I guess. We just all have to stand like 10 meters from each other. So
yeah, it would look interesting, but yeah.
Exactly. Hi, Victor. Welcome. Yeah. So I totally get that. Can you tell me? Because you said like you decided it wasn't for you, you didn't want to work in it. Was there like a moment? Was there like a reason, something that triggered you deciding no?
I think it was the gradual process. Like during my studies, I noticed, and I took also like coding classes, and I was like, yeah, wow, this is like so like it's pretty like entertaining to like it's as I compare it to like sports, like a high level like someone who plays basketball really enjoys the craft, and like computer science is the same. And, like there's no like repetition. It's just you learn a craft and you become really good at it, and you get paid well for that craft. And it's as if and everybody can do it. So like it's like the most exciting thing ever.
I love that excitement.
If you compare it to like anything like any like other, like for example, if you work in finance in general, it's more what matters is like the years of experience, the school where you went to. It's less competence. I think I really love the fact that it's like competence and like a craft more than like just a repetitive job.
That's the German side coming in. The craft side. I get that. I get that.
But what's funny is if like a purely German person hears me speak, they just hear the French accent.
Yeah.
They don't hear the like German accent.
No. Yeah. It's the same. It's the same. Like if I meet other Australians in Germany, like speaking German with an Australian accent, I don't notice their accent at all. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't notice an Australian accent in German because it's a foreign language to me, so it just sounds normal, right? But it's in my accent. Yeah. But then, like, I can hear a Russian person speaking German. I can hear a French person speaking German, and I'll recognize it. It's really weird. You mentioned that you were taking coding classes during your degree. What was that as part of uni? No. Was that outside?
Yeah. It was part of the studies. Cool. But it was more. So, like, the official degree is economics with a concentration in data analytics and minor statistics. So, like, for the data analytics part, I did like Python. Yeah. But I would say it was more like it wasn't very advanced. Yeah. Like.
I mean, even computer science degrees don't have that much programming in them, to be honest. So yeah. I know.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you, because you said I read you did a 1-year certificate, like a 1-year program, and that you learn more through the own project. So like the program in itself was kind of you basically became a teacher. Thanks to the own project, which taught you everything.
Exactly.
And so, like, do you regret in the end doing the like 1-year certificate? Like, because you also like gained like experience and like exposure.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So to give some background, to explain it again for those who don't know, I had done the Odin project for I think 60 days straight. I did 3 to 6 hours a day, every single day for 60 days, and just basically smashed through as much of it as I could, kind of in order to see if programming was going to be for me. I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a really solid shot, and I'm going to see if it works for my brain, see if it's kind of my thing. And of course it was. Surprise, spoiler alert. And that's why I decided to do this course. The thing that made me decide to do the course was actually a conversation that I had with a recruiter in my local area. Something that I encourage a lot of people to do is to contact developers from their area. I mean, you're already doing that by contacting me, so you tick, good job. But that's something that I often recommend people to do. And part of the reason is that I can't predict what everyone's local market is going to be like. In some places, you can rock up with like 2 months on Odin project and you can get a job. Like sometimes that
is it country to country or is it city to city or
I think it depends, because for example in the States there are so many different states and different cities, and I have a feeling they all work differently. But in Germany I would say it's more or less uniform, though Berlin is a little bit special because there are so many startups and so many international companies. But I would say in general something about the German job market that is drastically different from the United States. Hi Shashi, hi Debjit. Is that in the US, it's kind of like, do you have the skills? Can you do the job?
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like, if you can do the job, then you've got the job. Congratulations. But in Germany, it's a little bit different. They tend to be a little more old school, and they tend to want you to have the certification, have the proof. And when you apply for jobs, and this is something I mentioned on Shashi's thread the other day, when you apply for jobs, you're expected to send all of those documents with your CV and your cover letter. It's really weird. So when I had this conversation with the recruiter and I said, you know, I've been doing this stuff self-taught, I'm doing really well, I've even got a mentor, like, he's very supportive, blah, blah, blah. She was like, that's great, but like, we don't know if you can work in a team. We don't know if you can handle a full-time job in this. We don't have anyone we can ask for references, really, who can actually tell us if you're well suited to this. Like, we just kind of have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to do the certification. The great thing about being ahead when I started the certification was that being ahead meant that I could help teach other people, and everything I was learning was just consolidating the information. Yeah. Exactly, just reinforcing it. Instead of me having to struggle with these new concepts in that moment, because as we all know, the hardest thing about learning to code is like the first time you hear about a loop and you're like, what? Like, what is I? Like,
I didn't have that problem because like the first time I coded was in high school. But like on my own. Yeah. So I learned like the basics. I probably learned the basics like in total 5 times.
Yeah.
Like between like my studies.
That's nice.
Like and now again.
Exactly.
I've seen like chapters on loops so many times.
That's great. Honestly, that's great. Like, I know it must be kind of boring for you, but it's great. And in that case, I would say one of the good things to do would be to practice explaining them to other people as well.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I found I really did get out of my course was that stuff, was working in a team, was working with people of drastically different levels. Like, we had some people in there who really struggled to even learn the basics of HTML. We had some people who were kind of like me and took very naturally to it and found the stuff quite quick to pick up, and every single level in between. So I had to work with them, I had to get the best out of them, and by helping to teach them, as I said, teaching helps you learn. And of course, I came out with the holy grail, the certificate at the end, which the piece of paper, which unfortunately in Germany does hold a lot of weight. So that was kind of the thing for me. Admittedly, I, as I said, did a 1 year, what they call in German, Weiterbildung, which is kind of like, for those who don't speak German, it's like a, how do you even explain it?
Continuation.
Yeah, it's like continuation of a formal education kind of thing. Because it's not like just a course you do, right? And in Germany, there's a big difference between like, oh, I've done a course versus like, I've done a Weiterbildung, or I've done an Ausbildung, or I've done a certification. These two things are kind of quite different. And so I'm not sure how it would compare to a boot camp. I have a few friends who I know who have done like 3-month super intensive boot camps. From the conversations I've had with them, they've had a lot harder of a time getting work, but most of them still ended up with work. So it took them that bit longer. It took a lot more convincing. It took a lot more applying and networking and like doing that hard work, but they got there. The good thing about my course that I liked was that unlike a boot camp, I didn't have to pay for it because I was jobless. And so if any Germans out there, I was on Eins. I think it's Eins or Zwei. I always get those two mixed up. The nice one.
I don't know.
Anyway, that means I was on jobless benefits, and the 1 year course qualified me for a government voucher that basically paid for my entire studies.
But I saw that boot camps also accept.
Oh, do they now? Okay.
Like a lot, like not all of them, but like some of them accept this like government voucher.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
But it's hard to like convince because I think you have to speak to someone.
Yes.
I don't
You
know,
have
but
to
it's hard to
convince
convince them for boot camps.
And I don't,
Like, it
honestly,
happens.
I think with your background, I'm not sure if you could do it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you could convince them because you've got an economics degree and like I think they'd be like,
in the
and
US.
you speak fluent German, I assume.
What?
And you speak fluent German as well, I assume.
My parents like spoke to me in German. I always answered in French, so I speak German, but insanely heavy French accent, like way worse than English. So yeah, I would say I speak fluently, but not native. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So probably a similar level to me, maybe slightly better.
I can have a conversation, but like.
That's good.
I don't like it. Yeah. I prefer speaking in English.
And your degree is from the States, you said?
Yeah. Okay,
all right. I mean, maybe you could make the argument. The problem is basically you have to.
I'm wondering, would it be even worth it?
For to get them to pay for it, or
like if we're going as a junior level position, and I can learn everything. Like I feel like if I continue on my trajectory right now with the own project, I feel like I can learn more than I would learn with a bootcamp. And I would probably at the end be more advanced than someone who did your certificate. I mean, I can't really judge, but
okay.
Like
I know what you're saying. Yeah. The answer could be yes, or the answer could be no, and it's impossible. Obviously, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be that person. I don't know if you know, but there's a stereotype about senior developers that they always answer with "it depends," and and I'm gonna be that person and say it depends. On the one hand, I think with like just from what you're telling me, the fact that you've done coding, you've done a few units of programming actually in your degree, I think you could make the argument that could get you a first interview pretty easily. I think you could get first interviews. I think you could get first interviews.
That's good news.
Yeah, it's a good start. It's a very good start. That's often the hardest part.
First success.
Yeah. The technical part, as you said, like if you're really finding that you take to it well and you're learning well and thoroughly, that's great. The part that would be missing for me if I were a hiring manager and I were talking to you would be, again, this whole, can he work in a team? Now, you seem like a pretty charismatic, personable person, so I don't get the impression that you would struggle to work in a team, but at the same time, I guess, yeah, and the question is, like, have you worked with other developers on your project? You mentioned your project, or only independently?
No, I mean, in university, yes.
Yeah.
Because we had like weekly assignments of like a code.
Okay.
And there we were always like in a team of 2. So I was always working with another. So like one person was basically pitching ideas and one person was coding.
And were you switching, or did you take one
over
the other?
Yeah. It was it was more like pair programming. From what I've heard, like pair programming style.
Yeah.
But I haven't done any advanced projects or like big projects with pair programming.
And what about with Git or something like that? Have you been working with Git?
No. I'm in right now. I work with Git, but it's just.
But not with other people.
I haven't Yeah.
I get it. That's honestly, like, Git is easy if you're alone.
I don't send pull requests. I just see memes with pull requests, and I don't know how. Like, never done any of those.
Exactly. All right. So I mean, honestly, I think you could, if you explained that, and if you emphasize that point, I think you could get something. I don't want to make any promises, obviously, but I feel like you could. It depends, I guess, how.
Would like a hackathon?
Hackathon, yeah. I was gonna say hackathons, meetups, also open source contributions. So if you can find For example, I know the Odin project does.
They improve the curriculum.
Yeah,
And
exactly, and
always are,
they often put those issues up on and in their Discord channel as well.
Yeah.
They're really good about that. But any other, I suppose, areas that you are interested in, or any other repositories or open source projects that you're interested in, it's worth keeping an eye on them for beginner issues that you can work on, and then really talk to the moderators about it. Normally people are really good about helping people through that. I remember my first open source contribution, and it was on the surface the easiest thing ever. It was like to add emojis into titles, and I was like, I can add emojis into titles, like, easy. But what I didn't realize is that they had front-end testing, and I'd never done a test, like a front-end rendering or component test before in my life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And I was exactly the same as you. I was like, and they had to like baby me through the whole thing. So, yeah, it was
That's the shocking part. For me, it was shocking. That like everybody is so like for example, in the own project, in the Discord channel, everybody is so nice. Like you ask a question and someone answers within 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like no one gets paid. Like even the people creating the program aren't getting paid. Like I ask a question, someone answers, like helps you. Like they don't get anything in return. I
know, it's
just shocked me.
It's amazing, and honestly, again, for anyone out there who hasn't seen it or be involved with it, hi Riadia, sorry, I don't know if I said your name right. The Odin project is great. They've got an amazing Discord community, and it is incredible. Like literally, you can be stuck on a problem, and you're like, hey, I'm stuck. I can't get this to work. Here's the code, and within like 5 to 10 minutes, someone's like, oh, have you tried this? And then you're like, oh, that worked. Great. Okay, see ya. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, they always give you
Yeah.
They're like super friendly and helpful.
Exactly. And it's great when you can help as well. Like I found that very rewarding when I kind of was just past the basics, and then I saw people just like coming in, starting weeks, like their first week in Odin project, and I actually knew by that point I could kind of look back and help them with the things I'd struggled with as well. I think, okay, so let's talk more on the technical side. Where are you at the moment with learning, and where are you hoping to go?
Not a good answer.
Silence can be good if it's thinking. Yeah.
I was thinking because this is what I do, and I know it's not good, but yeah. I basically learn very quickly, then go back, start again, and like relearn the same. Like it's like I do quick progress, and then at some point I realize, hey, like I went way too fast. Then I go back a little bit, quick progress, go back a little bit, and so like at the end, so in concrete terms, in the Odin project, you have a Ruby section and a JavaScript section, and I was midway through Ruby section, got really stuck, super frustrated, but it wasn't something like specific. It was just I was overwhelmed.
Okay.
And so I switched to the JavaScript.
Oh no!
Very bad idea.
Yep.
Because it's gonna be tough to go back to Ruby. And like hopefully I can like by the end of this year I want to have a like Reddit type website, like Facebook, like somewhere where you can log in, put your password, so like a little bit of a backend, like I mean basic design and interactive. This for my portfolio, and then at the beginning of next year, create a portfolio website with a few of my Odin projects, in there, and then start applying. Hopefully I get it.
Okay. And step number 1, fake it till you make it. Then start applying, full stop. Yeah?
No. Initially I wanted to do fake it till you make it. But I realized it's a bad idea
Okay.
because it's difficult to fake coding.
Okay, that's true. I meant in this conversation, okay? When you're saying like, oh, I think I'll apply next year, you should be like, I want to apply next year. Boom.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm going to apply next year,
Yes.
that's for sure.
Perfect.
Your question is more like which month? Yeah.
Yes.
Because next year, December, it's not, wouldn't be ideal. So this, and what I also wanted to know from you is because you really like utilize very well your Twitter and YouTube channel to get your first position.
That's true. Yeah.
So like, and also your blog, and I looked at your like first YouTube videos, and oh, what is a variable?
Yeah.
like very simple.
Yes.
And do you think that helped you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that with my YouTube, I don't think actually helped me that much to get a job. I had only just started it really when I started applying to places. So I don't know how much or how little YouTube helped me. I have to say I've never been very good with taking YouTube seriously or consistently. But with Twitter, I definitely feel like that helped me a lot. Not actually so much. I mean, okay. Yes, it got me my job because I posted a video introduction on Twitter, and I think at that point I had about 6,000 followers. So that was pretty good, and really, I also had spent so much time focusing on helping other people, and then in this one tweet I was like, hey, can you retweet this? And I never ask people to retweet stuff. Like it's something I try to save for very, very special occasions and moments where I really, really need it. So I definitely think that helped. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you said you help people. How?
Yeah.
Like specifically.
That's a great question. I think you actually touched on it. I went back to basics. So every time I wanted to do something on YouTube, write a blog post, do something on Twitter, I would think, what was I stuck on 2 to 4 weeks ago? Like, what did I struggle with 2 to 4 weeks ago? And the reason I like that space of time is because it's recent enough that you still feel the pain of it. But it's not so long ago that you've forgotten how to solve it, right? In a way that you can explain it to those people. Because now, like I said before, like I mentioned front-end testing to you, it's now such a normal part of my life that I just threw that out there, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And you forget that. Like, the deeper you go into tech, the more you forget all of the little things you've had to learn along the way. And so I think that one of the most useful things you can do is to look back and then try to do that. So when you're saying how on Twitter, I'll address that. I would look for code newbies. There's the code newbie hashtag. There's 100 days of code hashtag.
Did that help you for 100 days?
So for me personally, I just used it like a little journal. It didn't help me for when I was doing it, but when I had time and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with my time on Twitter today? I would start looking through that hashtag on Twitter, and I would like find people who had 0 likes. Was one of the big things I did was I would find someone who had 0 likes on their tweet. Now, I don't know if you remember, when you're first starting on Twitter and you've got like 50 followers, if that, and no one likes your tweets, no one is interacting with you, it can mean the world to someone to just have someone go, oh, hey, that's awesome, keep going, or, oh, I love what you did, that's a great screenshot, like, good color choice. Like, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but just encouraging people, it really helps lift other people up, and then they start following you, and then they start being interested in what you're doing. And then, of course...
So this is how you grew your audience in the beginning? Yeah,
that's one of the ways I grew my audience. I never thought of it that way, to be honest. Like, it's not like I was doing it very consciously, but yeah, it did help. But I was just talking to people and making contacts, and the more you do that, the more you see someone saying like, oh, hey, does anyone know anything about UX UI? And I can go, oh, hey, I don't, but my friend Fergie, who I talk to every day on Twitter, does. Let me hook you two up, you know? And then you start making those connections for people. And so you don't always have to be the one doing the helping. You can just be connecting people, and that in itself can be really valuable.
Because it's, I feel like the initial follower, like gaining, for example, the initial like 2,000 followers, it's probably like really hard.
It's really hard,
And so this is why I was wondering, like, your strategy.
My strategy. I get asked about it a lot, and I never talk about it, but but yeah. And I would say one of the things, and I did a YouTube video on this 3 months ago. I think I looked at people's Twitter profiles and I gave them feedback. So if you go back through my videos, you'll find it somewhere.
No, I feel like I saw part of it.
If you did, very good. Well, and one of the things I often tell people is it's very easy to focus on you and what you're doing because you are the center of your own universe, right? It makes sense. And people treat Twitter a little bit like a diary, you know, oh, today I did this, or I'm working on this right now. And that's great. I do that too, but you have to be making the majority of your tweets about other people. Like, hey, what do you all think about this or this? Like, how do you feel about blah? Or if you're trying to do X, let me help you. Here's a suggestion, or here's something that worked for me. So it's just about kind of trying to position yourself. If you were someone else looking at your own feed, what would you want to read? Like, do you want to see like a day-to-day explanation of every single thing that person is doing? Well, probably not. It's interesting what other people are doing with their lives, but if every single one of their tweets is about that, then you're kind of like, okay, am I getting anything out of this? Are we actually interacting on a deeper level? And so for me, I try to create environments where people feel like they can talk and I talk back and just start a conversation.
No, I think I also saw you post pictures sometimes.
Yeah.
and I think that really helps because it adds another dimension. So just plain text, then you're like,
that was one of your questions, wasn't it? Like, can I post about non-tech topics, right?
One of the questions was, should I post non-tech stuff?
Yeah.
Because, for example, me, I still like economics. And so sometimes I'm like really excited about it. And just like the news about like, oh, this is happening. And I think it's because of this. And I want to share that. But also, I mean, if for example, I'm on Twitter and so a recruiter looks at my Twitter and then half the posts are about economics, and he's like, oh, he isn't really passionate about technology.
I've answered this question when it comes to languages before. I've had a German colleague who was unsure if he should split his Twitter, like have 2 Twitter accounts, like one in German and one in English and all this kind of stuff. And I think I feel kind of similarly that it depends on the ratio. I think there are several different strategies you can take, right? If you want to be tweeting 2 to 3 times a day about economics and 2 to 3 times a day about tech, I would split them, right?
Yeah,
that's too much.
That's
too much content. Yeah.
Once a week.
Then I wouldn't worry about it then. Like I think once a week is absolutely fine, especially if you're posting every day about tech. Like at least one tweet a day about tech, and then every now and then you throw an economics post in there. Absolutely fine. I would also say, so that's the other strategy. Yeah, you just kind of post whatever you like. The third strategy is to like go all in on it and be like, I'm the economics guy, you know? Like, this is my brand. I am about tech and economics and the weird ways in which they interact, and I'm going to talk about both and, you know, kind of like make that your whole brand. And that's, in a way, that's a little bit what I did with Opera, except I don't really tweet about Opera. But I really, I would say I try to emphasize my Opera background probably more than I would in a normal conversation with someone. I try to do that a little bit more on Twitter to kind of highlight this change, like the career change aspect, because that's my thing, like the career change thing.
Quick side note.
Yeah.
So my brother
Okay.
is also software engineer.
Okay.
But he's very lucky because he was born in the US. So he can do it in the US. And when I was living in New York, and in his startup, his product manager is a former opera singer.
Amazing. New York is the place. You'll find a lot of opera singers in New York. There are a lot there.
Yeah. But I'm sure there aren't that many like former opera singers now software engineers.
No, you'd be surprised. I think because I've become quite a high profile. Well, now that I'm a high profile opera singer turned software engineer, I get messages from people quite often now. Like, I would say once every month or so, I get a message from someone like, hey, I actually also used to be an opera singer, or at least a classical musician. So someone who used to play violin or something along those lines.
That's pretty cool. Like, so we're like a radical switch, you know?
I know,
like,
apparently it's
very artistic to a very traditional, you know, like
I guess. It's funny because opera is a little bit, I feel like opera is a little bit unique in that it's not super creative in the same way as like being a painter is, for example. Because with opera, it's like you've got the sheet music, like you sing what's on the sheet. Do you know what I mean? So it's it's not like you're not like music. I don't. I mean, some people do, but not me.
Yeah.
So it's funny because people say that a lot. I don't actually think of myself as a creative person, but I don't know. I guess it's all in degrees.
Yeah.
But yeah, Victor, I saw asked a question in chat. I don't know if you're still there, Victor, about how to get started with open source. I would actually recommend if you go, I think 2 issues back in my newsletter that is linked on my Twitter profile. There's a few steps here. Okay, go to my Twitter profile, go to my newsletter, go 2 issues back. There's a big blog post in there about getting started with open source. It could have been 3 issues back. And it was a really, really good summary. So I'm not going to do it justice. Just go find that one and read that, and that'll be awesome. And I'll post it in the, for anyone watching this later, I'll post it in the description, and then you can find it then. So thanks, good question. And thank you, Shashi, that was very nice. Nice comment.
And last question, because I know someone else comes.
Yes.
Not that, just me, I'm curious. Like in Berlin, for example, if I have a job interview in like 3 months, how do I dress? I know it's not a very silly question, but because I know that, for example, like in finance, you wear a suit.
I'm sorry, no, you don't have to wear a suit. If you really want to, you can, but I probably wouldn't.
No, I don't want to. But I'm wondering, for example, right now, I'm wearing a sweatshirt with SpongeBob. So I'm wondering, would that be appropriate?
Okay, all right. So I believe in smart casual for every occasion. Because you can't go wrong with smart casual. And I guess for a guy, that would be like, maybe like a collared shirt or even a polo shirt and just like a loose jacket, and then jeans or something like that. But I wouldn't go super formal. Most places who are hiring tech guys or women or whoever, they're not expecting a high level of formality. So I wouldn't worry about wearing a suit. That said, I'm not sure how many in-person interviews will be happening still at that time. But put it this way, at my company, you wearing a sweatshirt with SpongeBob on it would be absolutely fine. But, and I think if you're going for a startup, for example, like an interview with a startup, you'd probably also be fine. Because hoodies are like kind of also the quasi uniform of developers nowadays. But I would say if you're going for like a consultancy or a bigger software company or a bank, absolutely, then I would dress more formally. Basically, the more traditionally German the company is, the more formal you should dress.
So basically, the best advice is to not wear anything formal, so that You always get good companies, like fun company, relaxed, fun
I mean,
company.
that's the other
There's
thing.
good
Like,
cultures.
that's the other
We're
thing.
matching
Like,
cultures.
exactly, yeah, culture match. So, like, if you personally want a job where you can come in a hoodie and jeans, then maybe that's a good test for you. Like, see how they react, and if they're all in suits, then you can be like, lovely to meet you, gotta go. Let's not even. Lovely to meet you. Yep. Lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you. I'm gonna go now. It was great.
No, my favorite scene ever in any movie is in The Social Network. Have you watched it?
I have, but a long time ago.
Yeah, but there's a scene where he meets investors all in suits, and he shows up in pajamas in a bathrobe, and he's just like, he shows that like he's superior by just underdressing like completely. And I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, for me, I personally I just like looking nice. I don't know. It's just that I like dressing up. So like, I'm not really into t-shirts, even outside of work. Like, I don't really wear t-shirts or hoodies or whatever. It's just not my style. So I just think you just go as who you are, and you just see how they react.
So I shouldn't try to
I mean,
a little bit.
Have a shower and like, tidy up the hair, and don't put zero effort in, but maybe wearing deodorant is a good idea,
Just clean, but then wear whatever.
Exactly.
As long as it's clean. Yeah.
I think so. I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say in tech, you don't have to worry as much about it.
Yeah, I have to leave.
And I have to too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Lilian's very,
Thanks
very,
a lot.
it
was very entertaining.
Yeah, thank you, and have a great evening. Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. That was the first call. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. Might be closer to 5-minute break, and then we'll get started on the next call. Sorry, Lilian, I think you're still waiting, so I will get in touch with you, and we'll put the 2-minute countdown on. But don't expect me to necessarily be back at the end of it. So let's see how we go here. If I can get this timer going again. Oh, okay, that was loud. Let's do this. Okay, let's see if I can get this going. Yeah, sorry, Victor. So to give a bit of background for anyone who's joining us now, apparently Mac computers don't have inbuilt sound sharing, so I haven't been able to actually share my computer sound with you, which is really frustrating, and that's why we have this terrible audio situation where I have to like turn my microphone around so you can hear the other participant. So I'm really sorry about that. I know that the sound quality is not great and I will fix it for next time. But in the meantime, I hope that the captions are enough to kind of get you through and that you can kind of hear what we're doing. So I've left Lilian waiting for too long already. So let's join. All right. Hello, can you hear me? And I'll need to get the captions on. Yes, I can just hear you. Let me turn your volume right up though. Whoa, there we go. Can you try again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, great. I can hear you. Welcome.
That's cool.
Okay, so
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry about any echo that you might be getting. It's kind of a sad situation here with the microphone.
No problem.
But yeah, thank you firstly for agreeing to talk to me today.
Oh, thank you too. I was super excited when you brought the idea. Yeah, I was super excited.
Yay! I'm so glad. Well, welcome to YouTube. You're famous now, so no. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me why we're talking today.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Lilian Ada. I am a Nigerian and also in my final year in the university studying early child and primary education.
Oh, cool.
So I got into tech a few months ago, actually in March, where I started learning HTML, CSS.
Yep.
I started with an internship, basically. It was a free internship, and that was how I got into tech. I started because of I needed something to do. Like I was already having anxiety about leaving school, and I really do not like the constant studying. It's orientation, but I do not like it. Like since I started the course like 3 years ago or four in 2017, 2018, I never saw myself doing anything relating to it. So I just kept on trying different things and trying different things. Who knows? Maybe tech is it for me. I don't know yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been able to build a few projects by myself. From the internship, I've worked with a lot of front-end developers, back-end, and also designers too. Yeah, it has been really fun, stressful, and I've been using the larger part of my brain recently.
That's awesome. That is one of my favorite things about when you're getting started is like, oh, I didn't know this part of my brain existed, but here it is. That's great. So tell me about this internship. How did you find it? What does it involve? How often do you do it?
With the internships, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, okay, there you are. So nice to see you.
I forgot that it wasn't on. Okay, so in Nigeria, yeah, we have a lot of companies, organizations, people who come up with different internships to help people who are just newbies who are just getting into tech. So it's actually very, very easy to find like an internship. The first internship I wanted to start with was if I can remember, side hustle, but I was not able to start immediately with them. So I just the next month I saw another one was open. I was like, oh nice, internship, and I joined. So it's actually very easy. There are a lot of them. You just have to check and then you find one. And then they are actually very helpful. Both the one for just women and the one that has both guys and ladies in it. There are just a lot of them here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and how often do you do it? Is it like a full-time job or what's the...
No. The first one I started from March and it ended in June, July. So that was like, it was almost 6 months. I think March, April, May, June, July. Yeah. 4 5 months,
Mhm.
and then it ended in July. In September,
Mhm.
I started another one.
Okay.
I found another internship, but this one, the first one was more of learning. They had
Of course.
courses, videos out there to help people who are just getting started.
Right.
Meanwhile, the second one was fast paced. It was for
Okay.
people who already knew what they were doing. So I didn't know what I was doing, but you know what? I want to give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I started with them, that one is HNG. It's quite popular
Okay.
here in Nigeria. I started with them, and I thought initially I thought probably I'll be able to learn JavaScript now because I already had like proper knowledge of HTML and CSS.
Right.
But when I started, no, you were not making use of JavaScript. It was more of frameworks, React, Vue.
Oh, okay.
So that's September, October. I learned React. That's
Wow. Jump straight into it.
It was not easy, honestly.
No.
The pressure, we had deadlines.
Wow.
We had to work with people.
Okay.
Like a lot of people. I was in a team of like 100.
What?
100 people where we had front end, back end, and designers. And as time was progressing, it kept on reducing from 100 to 50 to like 30 to less than 30 because once you're not able to meet a certain task you were given, you kind of get evicted, kicked out.
Okay.
You know, they tell you, okay, you got to go now. You're not meeting up with our expectation and stuff like that. Or if you default something. So, for someone who did not know React, I was kind of meeting up with all the deadlines and the tasks. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's something I give myself accolades for.
Yeah.
I was trying. I did not know what I was doing, but I had to go online, watch a few stuff, ask questions.
Of course.
That was something that I do not joke with. And I feel like my teammates then, they were kind of tired of me because I was always asking questions. Oh, I'm doing this stuff now and I'm stuck here. Can you please help me? And the cool thing was that on our group chat, other people too were also asking questions. Everybody was asking. So you would not feel like, oh no, you do not know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then when you ask, there's always someone to, respond to the questions you ask. Now that one just ended in October, yeah?
Right, okay, recently.
Yeah, it just ended in October. And then there's another one. I started another.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question. So with these internships, are they paid? Are they unpaid?
They are all unpaid. I mean, there are some parts they're unpaid, yeah, but they'll give you certain things to do, and maybe when you do them, they kind of give you prize money. For example, they would say the first team to finish this task will get 100,000 naira. 100,000 naira is equivalent to I think $100.
Okay.
Yeah, $100 and something for like whatever number you earn your team. If you're 100, if you're 50, we share the money. So I was paid because there was no form of, that was not payment. It's not enough to, cover our data, it's not enough to cover the amounts we spend on data weekly or monthly.
Exactly. It's not even covering your expenses to work for it. So you're basically paying to do the internship, is what you're saying.
No, we are not paying.
You're paying because you're paying. You're just paying other people. You're paying the internet providers and.
Yes, exactly. They're the ones benefiting the most because we are using everything. You have to use Google, you use YouTube,
of course,
for courses, and then Google Meet calls, Zoom calls. Oh my god!
Well, I hope I don't use up too much of your data tonight. Okay, and so right now you're internship hopping. Is this normal in Nigeria? Is there at what point do you switch from this internship life into employment?
Okay, I'm job hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so whilst I'm doing that,
Uh-huh.
I have to keep myself busy, keep learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why from one internship I tried to move to the other. The internship I recently joined, I do not really understand how we are moving. So I think I kind of took a step back so that I could
Mhm.
build projects on my own and also round up my program in
Yeah.
school. But then, funny thing is, I had my first interview today.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. It was
Tell
not
me.
funny.
I was gonna say, tell me about it. How did it go? What?
Oh
How?
my
Okay, what
God.
was it for? What did they ask you, and how did it go?
Okay, so yeah, I've been doing something called spray and pray method. I think I heard that from. I got that from.
Spray and pray. So you're playing the numbers game. You're just sending as many as you can out there.
As many as possible, as many as I could. I go on LinkedIn. I go use other platforms, ZipRecruiter, and different platforms. I just send in my resume and then hope to get something. Maybe I need. But most of I don't care. I don't even get a sorry. We will not be moving on with you.
No.
They don't even reply.
No.
So
you get ghosted.
that's more painful because when I see that, okay, maybe you actually went through my what they call it, you went through my resume and maybe I'm not a good fit. But most times I do not get. So a few days ago, I think it was 3 days ago, I got a mail that you're going to be having an interview with me. So I was super excited. But I did not know where and when I actually applied for the job. So I was kind of lost. Because I checked their email, there was no link to check their profile anywhere. I did not know what I was actually. I knew that it was a front-end role, but I did not know which company, where to read about the company. So I just basically went blind-eyed, like I did not know anything. I said, okay, this is my first. I've seen a lot of other people's experiences saying it was trash, it was bad. So I was not really scared. I just said to do it, and then
that's a good attitude. Honestly, that's a good attitude to have.
But it was not funny because when the call started, okay, tell us about yourself. I did tell them about myself.
Yes.
Then they moved to asking questions. That was where the problem started.
Okay. Why do you want to work for us? Is that what they asked? Did they ask?
No. Okay, they're basically asking, for example, some of the questions. I put some of them down.
Okay.
How to implement different browser codes in CSS, meaning of state and hooks. I basically just started making use of React here. So some of the questions they asked, I did not know the answer to. So when I'm asked a question and I know the answer, I'm like, I actually have no idea about this. And then I tell them straight up, I just started making use of this library and I might not be able to answer as much questions as I'm supposed to. Then the interviewer, the person who was recruiter was like, okay, let me go to asking you something you might be more familiar with. So he started asking me some CSS questions. I was able to answer a few of them.
Okay.
Then he asked me Git questions also. I know how to use Git. Then one question one asked me was, in one line of code, how do you state changes and commit changes? I only know how to do Git add.
Well, if you don't know Git, then yeah.
So I said that's basically why, and he was like, okay, fine, no problems. And I just left that because after the interview, I went to check all the things that I did not know. So most of the questions I did not know them.
Okay. All right. So let's summarize. All right. You went in blind to an audition, but you went in with low expectations. You just thought you'll do your best. You'll be who you are. You were honest when you didn't know the answer to questions. And then after the interview, you went and looked up the things you didn't know so that if you get asked them again, you'll be able to answer them. So,
yes.
I don't think that's bad. I think, like, obviously going in blind is the one thing where I'd be like, oh, but everything else, I think you did great. I think that's great.
Right.
It's really good because honestly, I mean, obviously I am not Nigerian. I don't know what the work culture is like there, but I can speak from my experience anyway, is that generally speaking, developers care a lot more about what you're like to work with than about whether you know the answers to the questions. So if you're going to say like someone says, oh, how do you add and commit in one line? Well, you can say, well, I don't know. I do know that to add, I use git add, and I know that to commit, I can use git commit -m and then the message that represents it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you just explain what you do know, and you can kind of say, okay, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And if you just explain what you do know and what you don't know, to me, for a junior role, that's much more important, because if they're hiring you for a junior role, then they shouldn't expect you to know everything already anyway. So I mean, I don't know if you'll get the job. I'm guessing, since you don't even know who you were interviewing for, that probably not. But nevertheless, you never know. And I think for a first interview, it could have been a lot worse.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think it was not bad. It was not so bad.
Yeah,
and it wasn't long. It was like 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We discussed about like a startup. It's a new startup, and that's why they do not have so much online. Because what they were offering, oh my goodness.
Was it? No. What do you mean? It was
what they were offering for the job, for the role. It wasn't much.
Right.
Like it's below what we call the normal wage you're supposed to pay workers. It's just stipend. What they can be able to afford is basically just stipend, data stipend. And even at that, it was still low. So I spoke to them. This is quite low, even if I'm going to get the role. But if you can increase it a bit.
Oh, okay. I think we're losing you a bit. I don't know if you're going to come back. Oh, you're back. We missed you. We lost you for a minute.
Even if I'm given the job, even if I'm given the role, and I'm not paid like proper as I'm supposed to be paid, that is like a real job, like a real life experience, a real job that I will be working in, and it's going to be something added to my portfolio and my resume to show that yes, I've actually been in an environment where I work with people on real life projects.
Exactly.
Well, I hope for the best.
Yes, I hope so too. I would wonder. I mean, I know you say you're doing spray and pray. Which is a way to do it. There's quantity and there's quality, right? I would say, how many local developers are you talking to? Are you going to any local events at the moment, or?
No, I'm just in communities. From the internships I have been in, we have a lot of communities. We have a few communities, and I'm part of them. From the first internship, we have one. From the second one, I just rounded up. We have like a community for people who finished the internship. And then there's one we call She Codes Africa.
I've heard of She Codes Africa. It's won some awards. Yeah, it's doing amazingly.
So I'm part of She Codes Africa community. So I'm not going for any events just yet, though there's an event for me to attend in December. But I'm part of the online communities.
Okay, well that's good. Because one of the things I'm just thinking of, and I don't know, again, I don't know what it's like in your community, but I'm guessing that it's similar, which is that when you see positions that are advertised that are free or that are available, one of the things I always recommend to people is to look at who the recruiter is on that, because usually they have a LinkedIn contact for the recruiter, and send them a message before you send an application. So don't send an application first. You send them a message first and you say, oh, hi, Jane. I'm interested in this position that you advertised, but I don't know if someone with my experience would be suitable or not. I've worked with this technology, this technology, this technology. I've done this internship and that internship. Do you think Do you think I would be suitable, or should I wait until a more appropriate position comes up? Something like that. And you send them that message, and that gets you noticed before you've even sent anything. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is actually message another developer in that company. Obviously, if it's a startup, that's going to be difficult. But if it's like a bigger company or a medium-sized company, usually on LinkedIn you can search by employer, and then you find someone who works there, and you just send them a message and you say, hey, I've just seen that a position has opened up at your company. I just wanted to see if you could give me like a few sentences about what it's like to work there to see if I should apply or not. I have a background in React and the front end, but I'm not sure if someone with my experience would be welcome in the company or not, or something like that. And you just kind of see what they say. And if they give you good feedback about the company, because they usually will, obviously if they respond to you, they're probably not going to be like, hey, don't apply here. They'll usually say a few nice things. And then if you message the recruiter after that, you say, hey, I want to apply for this position. Same thing I said before, but you can add a sentence in there where you say, I actually spoke to, I don't know, Alex, who's in your whatever department, and he said that your company culture is really good at, I don't know, training, or is really good at having social events, and that's something I really look for in a company. So I'm really interested in this job, you know? And then you're on their radar, do you know what I mean? And you're less likely, usually the recruiter will come back and say, yes, apply, because they don't want to turn anyone down at that stage. And they're already engaging with you, and you're more likely to get that first interview. So it's a very different strategy.
You know, why I think I've seen this somewhere, but what usually comes to mind is when I check and I see that there are like 20 other applicants or 50, I just become discouraged. Maybe at 70, I just scroll past, because I feel like if the recruiters have like up to 70 applications, I usually feel like probably my own is not going to be that good, and I might not pass the screening stage, because there are like 70 others, and amongst those 70 others, there should be like over 10 people who are better than me. I think I kind of have imposter syndrome when it comes to sending applications, and I'm seeing the number of applicants. It kind of makes me lose confidence in myself. But if I'm like the first person, I just got the notification and I'm sending it, and I'm one of the 10 persons who send in the application, I kind of have a little confidence. So this strategy actually makes sense. It now makes me look past the number of applicants on that particular job posting. I think I would try this.
Try it. I mean, honestly, I think it gets good results. The other thing is that if they're talking to you on LinkedIn, sometimes they'll just look at your LinkedIn profile. Sometimes they won't even make you send a CV. They usually do, but sometimes they won't. And then they'll say, oh, do you want to just jump in a call and discuss it? And sometimes you can even just have a quick call. And that's really a first interview. They don't call it that, but it's really a first interview. And it's about standing out, because if you're imagining a situation with 70 applications, I can tell you right now, a lot of those applications will be awful, because most people don't know how to write a CV or don't know how to put together a portfolio site like yours, which is very nice.
You see?
We'll have a look at it before we finish the call. Okay. But because there are a few little things that I want to talk about, but I think the thing is that it's also about directing them there. You could even send them the portfolio actually in the message. You know, I wouldn't give them too much. Don't be like, here's my Twitter, here's my portfolio, here's my CV, you know, just one thing, you know. But I think that's fine. And most of the time they're looking for a good candidate, and they're looking for someone who stands out, and they're looking for like you know, a diamond in the rough, as we say, or the needle in the haystack, you know. They're looking for like someone amazing. And if you can make them like notice you and just be like, oh, she seems really nice, or she seems to like have this great portfolio site that's really nice to navigate, or whatever it is, that can stand out to them, because there's no, like, your strategy of spray and pray, it'll work from time to time, as you see, but just being the first person to apply, the downside to that, if you're not having any sort of contact with them, they get the first application, they go, okay, this is fine, but we've still got, it's the first application, so we'll keep waiting, and so then it's kind of like, it doesn't make you stand out necessarily, The other thing I would say is, like, you are a very open, happy, personable, friendly person. I would use that. One of the things that I mentioned in my last call with Richard was the video that I made that I put on Twitter that was like a video cover letter. It was a 2-minute video where I just said, like, hey, this is me. This is my experience. This is what I'm interested in doing. In my case, I said, yes, I speak German because I was looking for a job in Germany. And it was basically just 2 minutes, and I put it up on Twitter and I tried to share it everywhere, and I started putting it in my CV, and I made like a still shot with a little like red play button over it, so it looked like something people could click, and so people could actually look at it there. I put it on LinkedIn, of course, and then you feature it. LinkedIn has a featured section. You can also feature things there, and then people straight away, they can see you going like, hi, like, this is me, like, this is what I've done, these are the internships I've worked in, and it's, I think you could record a really nice introduction to yourself in under 2 minutes. It would, I know, yeah, you should. It takes a lot of turns because you'll hate watching yourself back. Everyone hates watching themselves back. It's okay. But you will, I'm sure you can get a good one. And if you record one, you're like, I think it's good, but I'm not sure, just send it to me and I'll tell you if it's good or not.
Cool. That's cool.
Okay, so were there any other questions before we start looking at your portfolio?
Okay, so did you, before getting a job in tech, did you try freelancing at all?
Not really, no. I considered it, but actually I found a job relatively quickly, because I was studying full time. Like, I was studying Monday to Thursday, 9 till 4. So it was like a full-time job. And then I found my actual job before my studies finished. So there was never like a period in which I had to do that. Is that something you're interested in, freelancing?
Well, since I'm still job hunting, yeah, I've actually tried freelancing on different platforms, Upwork, Fiverr.
Right.
Well, nothing is easy anyway. Nothing is easy anyway at all.
Have you got any work through those?
Yeah, on Fiverr actually, I got a job. It was to make use of the CMS platform. If you know, CMS Made Simple. So basically, I had never heard about that platform before.
Right.
I had never made use of it. The client just texted me, can you use this? Sent me a couple of videos to actually watch so that I can be able to carry out his tasks. And I kind of learned on the job like too quickly. I was even surprised. Yeah,
nice.
After delivering the job for him, like very fast, he came back and was like, yeah, you did the job quite fast since it was your first time, so let's still do business again. And aside him, who's a returning customer, I really not had anyone.
But that's great. Like, that's very encouraging. Did he leave a review for you?
Yeah, like twice. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Is he on LinkedIn?
I have actually not checked. I think I'll check that.
Because another thing on LinkedIn that people underestimate is the recommendations section. It is something I know recruiters look at, and if you have even 2 or 3 really good recommendations, that can be great. And if you've done these internships with other people, I would even offer to do a swap. So find someone in the course who you know liked your work, in the internship, who you know liked your work and whose work you liked, who you're happy and proud to back them up as well, and send them a message and say, hey, do you want to swap recommendations on LinkedIn? I'll say the stuff I liked about you and the developing you did, and if you say stuff about me and what you liked about what I did, keep it honest, of course. Don't say nice stuff about someone who sucks. But that way you get some real like quotes. And the other thing you can do if you want to take it to the next level is you can even, if they say really good stuff, you can steal quotes out of those recommendations and stick them into your CV, and then they look like it's like oh I don't know, Lilian always creates a good work environment and produces great code. Boom, that's your headline. You know, like, so that's also nice.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, let me find your. Were there any other questions? Sorry, before I jump in.
They'll come. Should I send it here?
I know it's alright. I've got it here. Here you go.
Okay.
All right. And I'll just put my. It's gonna work. Yes. Okay. There's me. All right. So let's have a look. So firstly, I love the landing page. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm gonna click this. I'm gonna hope. Is there any private data in this CV that you don't want the internet to see?
No.
Okay. So I was gonna say I don't want to like share private information. Okay, let's have a look. I am a front-end web developer with robust problem-solving skills and proven experience in creating and designing websites in a test-driven environment. Ooh, very nice. I love this opening line. That's great. I build awesome and responsive websites with the right aesthetics, providing a user-friendly environment with the right functionalities. I would replace the word right with like with modern, maybe modern aesthetics, or something along those lines. Are you still with me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
I can.
cool. Sorry, I'm worried about it dropping out. Frameworks, UI, React.js, love it. Bootstrap, soft skills, team collaboration, critical thinking. I would say critical thinking here. It's tiny, but just educational training. How to reach me, career summary, front-end developer intern. Nice. Front-end developer intern. Great. Yeah, see these references here. If you can get, here we go. Ola Milekan or Ibrahim? I don't know if you say first name. I don't know which is the first name or surname.
Yeah, Ola.
Yeah. If you could get him or her to write you like a short sentence or two about what he likes about you or she likes about you, you could put that right in there. And same with Mark.
Okay, cool.
That'd be nice. That's really nice. I like that it's one page. I like that it has your face. And again, this could even be replaced, like if you replace that with a rectangle and a play button, then you have your intro video in there.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll just
nice.
remove this image so that there's more space for me to add.
Yeah, exactly. You can shift this up. I mean, that's a lot of space up there, but it's nice. It's also nice space. Okay, cool. And now let's have a look. Let's scroll down. I love the social links right here, especially the LinkedIn. They're such a good photo. Wow. Like, did you get it professionally taken? Oh, here we go. Henry Sachs.
It's not just picture. I just removed the background and used it. I have a more professional one now.
I think it's good. I think it's wonderful. I love the shirt. You know, it's casual, but it's got a little businessy feel. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. If I'm scrolling through this site, okay, I'm a recruiter and I'm scrolling through this site. I have not seen a single word about the technology you work with yet.
Okay.
Yeah? I also see the word freelance and that makes me go, oh, does she even want a permanent position? Or is she a freelancer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would put in here your tech stack nice and early. I would put it in the first sentence. I'd say like hello there, my name is Lilian Ada, a front-end developer specializing in React.js and JavaScript, or React and JavaScript if you want to separate them out. I recently made a transition into tech. I wouldn't say that. I know that it's true, but it makes it sound like you're just a beginner, and that's what you want to avoid. You want to say like, In 2021, I made a transition into tech. It somehow sounds different, even though it's the same information. And I would say here, this is very like focused on how you view your skills, right? Not how a recruiter views you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, this is what I like about coding, and I enjoy this and I enjoy that. But a recruiter doesn't actually care that much about what you enjoy, like maybe a little bit, because they don't want to give you something you hate, but they care much more about what you have to offer. So I would reword this introduction to make it more about like, I can offer you blah, 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 or I can guarantee X, Y, Z. Like, I always bring my best. I always bring my A game. People love working with me. Give some guarantees or some promises about what you can give them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
The rest is good. If we click this, what happens? What do we do? Okay. Okay, I would say this background and this setup is awesome for your homepage.
Okay.
It's a great first impression, but I would say for the other pages, like the sub pages, the about, portfolio, blog, I would make it a bit different. So I would make it more like you jump into this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just because otherwise I remember that when I clicked on this the other day, I thought that I had been rerouted back to the homepage at first. Because all I saw was the background and the typing text, and I was like, "Oh, I'm back on the homepage. What have I done wrong?" That was my first thought. So I'd probably say like, this is awesome for the homepage. I love it. I think this is wonderful. But I'd say for any of the sub pages, you could even just keep the background or just do like a different piece of text or something like that. But just make it noticeably different.
Okay, I get it. Get it.
This is great. I love that you do all three. Obviously this is going to be replaced with blog articles, I assume.
Yeah.
Nice. I like a contact form. Awesome. Message. I like that. I actually really like that, the joke. I think it's fun. It adds some personality.
Yeah.
Portfolio. Okay, let's have a look. The education. Okay, just my personal opinion, but I really hate progress bars.
I saw Danny say something about that like yesterday. If there's progress bars or percentage for you, go take it out now. And I was like, yeah, I'm on it. So yeah, I'm actually going to
perfect. Just delete them. Just delete them and just put your skills. Yeah, you don't need to rank them. You can explain, like when you get the interview, you can tell them how much or how little you know. Don't worry about that. Education experience. Trying to think. I would maybe even put education, like maybe just make this whole left-hand section about skills.
Okay.
One thing that is really nice is using the logos for these. So rather than like just typing them out, which kind of looks like you'd just be filling space, you'd use like the React logo, the JavaScript logo, CSS, HTML, Bootstrap I think has a logo, WordPress of course. Do you know what I mean? And then have additional skills for things like web design, teamwork, that kind of stuff. And then I would put the education underneath this experience because it's less important, right? In a traditional CV, it would be front and center, but since it's unrelated to what you're applying for, I would put it at the bottom. It's the least interesting to a recruiter.
Oh, cool.
And then there's lots and lots of projects. Let's see. Unfinished. I would. Are these finished? Are these all live projects?
except the one that says unfinished. But they're all like, you can click on them.
Yeah, you can click on any of them. Okay. This is like a second portfolio page. I would say my school app. Oh, this link doesn't seem to be doing anything.
The one for UI design isn't working currently. I have not linked them to my Figma. But the one for web project, yeah, they are all working. You can start from the Zuri YouTube music landing page. The talktoada.com is unfinished though. Then the web project for my school app, they are finished. Freedom Action Now, one of the projects I worked on for a client on Fiverr, they're like.
So I would say pick 2 or 3 of your best projects.
Okay.
And feature those.
Okay.
Because right, oh, this is nice. That was nice. Did you see that? Look.
Which do you...
The three little popping and toom toom toom. That was beautiful. Watch down at the bottom. Pew pew pew. That's great. I love it. This is great. You should definitely use that. And I like this My School app. I would say probably, like, just at first glance, I would say this one, the YouTube music landing page, the My School app, and the Freedom Action Now. I would use those 3, and then I would go back into them and, like, make them as awesome as possible. Like, clean up any little things that have been annoying you. I know it's a pain going back to old projects. It's not fun because you're like, I want to do cool stuff. I want to do new stuff. I get it. But it's worth going back in and making them really great. And because if you're a recruiter and you're coming in and you see all of these projects, you have no idea which one this recruiter is going to randomly click on. And it might not actually be the one you're most proud of. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or it might be the one that doesn't work. Or it might be, you know, do you know what I mean? So I would always stick to quality over quantity. Choose like something that you would be proud to show in an interview, because they might actually do that. Something that we sometimes do is we actually bring up a portfolio project from one of our applicants and we say, oh, tell us about this project. Like, what did you do? Why did you do it this way? You know? So I would say if you have 2 or 3 like really kick-ass sites that you love and that you're really proud of, then you can explain well to someone else, that's much stronger than 9 smaller projects.
I'll do that, definitely. Nice. I'll work on that.
I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. I'm sorry.
No, they're actually very helpful because I had that particular thought this morning and I wrote a post about it on Medium. So yeah, I will definitely work on that.
Perfect. No, I don't know where you... Oh, there you are. I was like, I don't know where I put you. There you are. And now I've got to turn that off. There we go. All right, cool. Well, I guess, were there any... We're kind of at the end, but I guess were there any other questions that you have for me? Was that helpful?
Yeah, it was super helpful. Okay. I know some things I have to work on now. Yeah. And I think I have a few questions I wanted to ask.
Great. Yeah.
Number one is, you learned JavaScript during your course, yeah, your certification, and then you got a job that you didn't use JavaScript, it was Java.
yeah, it's kind of funny. I learned. Yeah, go on.
Wow, you were learning JavaScript and then you got a job. Like they actually gave you the opportunity to learn on the job. Yeah, that's like really cool, like very, very cool. Yeah,
I know.
But like, how were you able to learn on the job? How fast did you learn? How was it basically?
Yeah. For learning Java, do you mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it was a bit strange because my company actually has like a whole department that is specifically for training up junior developers. So that's not super common, I think, from what I've heard. So what we have is we actually have like a training program. It starts at like what is a string, and or what is a boolean, you know, all the really basic stuff for Java, right through to exception handling. And so I worked my way through that, but most of my work actually ended up being in Kotlin, which is kind of like a Java-esque language, but it's compiled in Java, but it's a little bit closer to JavaScript, so that made my life a little bit easier. But I would say the thing is, for me, you know, I was mentioning earlier, like, make a promise when you're talking to a recruiter, or you're writing your about yourself, like make a promise or a guarantee. The thing that I kept pushing in every single thing I applied to, my Twitter video, my about me sections, everything was about how fast of a learner I was, and how quickly I understood coding principles. So that was kind of what I sold myself on. So I probably would have been in some trouble if that weren't actually the case. But of course, that's not true for everyone. But I think that's why I was given the opportunity. I think they also said that to me in the interview. They're like, you know, you're coming into a role that is primarily in Java. You don't have any Java experience. How do you feel about that? And I said, well, I feel fine about it because I'm a super fast learner. I believe I can learn Java well. And I also am very confident in my ability to pick it up and share it with others, because that's exactly what I did with JavaScript. And on top of all that, I love a challenge. So it's kind of, I think if I hadn't had that reaction, then maybe I wouldn't have been given that opportunity. But personally, I found it surprising how much of a crossover there is. I was always told that Java and JavaScript have nothing to do with each other, but that's not entirely true. There is a lot of crossover, especially conceptually. So I actually didn't find it as hard to learn Java as I thought I would. That's the long explanation. And I think we've lost Lilian. I was wondering because we stopped hearing the little echo coming through from her side. But I guess we're kind of out of time anyway, so it's probably a good moment to leave it. Oh, nope, she's here. Great. Hi. You're back. You're muted, by the way. I don't know if you know. Okay. We still don't seem to have Lilian. All right. Well, Lilian, I was just saying that we're kind of out of time right now. So I think we can wrap up here. And if you have any other questions, though, feel free to shoot them to me in a message on Twitter, and I will respond. To everyone who has joined us today and everyone who is watching this after the fact, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you have found some of this useful, and that we can keep building on this. I'm going to keep doing this every Monday. So if you want to be the next person to come on and talk about you and what you're doing in your career, or ask me questions, please feel free to join me next week. Just send me a message on Twitter or LinkedIn, and as soon as those 2 spots fill up, they'll be full, and then I'll book for the next week. But with any luck, we will find a way to keep this series going. Lilian, I can hear you again. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, if I have a gap next week, I'll send you a message, and maybe you can drop it again.
Hopefully I have another interview before then.
Yeah, I would love to hear about it, and definitely keep me informed. Send me messages, let me know how it goes, because I definitely want to know how it goes for you. I think yeah, I have a good feeling about it, but you know, it's never an easy path, so just keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, let me know how it goes.
Definitely. Thank you very much. You've been very, very, very helpful. Like,
awesome.
Very insightful. And Really, this was my first time and it was fun. I was quite excited, and you did not like go below my expectations.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. And yeah, thank you, Victor, for coming along. Haddock, thank you so much as well. I don't know who else is still in chat, but thank you to all of our viewers. You're amazing. And yeah, see you all next time. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.